Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. So today we are getting ready for a big stock up grocery shop. So once a month I do a big grocery shop instead of going to the store like every couple of days or once a week even. I like to go once a month and do like the majority of our shopping for the month. And it just kind of keeps us out of the store, saves us gas money, saves us money because I'm only getting the things that we actually need. And it also just saves me a lot of time. We live about half an hour from any kind of a big grocery store. We have a smaller store in our town, which is really lovely when we need that. But we live about half an hour from a big grocery store. So in order to keep us from like running up and down the highway all the time, it just kind of makes sense for us to do one big shopping trip every month. And then my husband works in town, so he can do like a grocery pickup if we need halfway through to re-up on our milk and our produce, which hopefully this will be the last month that we have to really get a lot of produce because our garden is looking pretty snazzy right now. So I'm super excited about that. But this month we need to do a pretty big stock up. So we have a lot of things that we're kind of starting to run out of. Some things that like we made and canned last summer that are just gone. We've used them over the winter, and it is time to start to kind of fill our pantry just enough to get us through until we can some more of that stuff. But then we also have some things that we can't do here on our farm that we do need to stock up on. So we will be doing that this week. But in order to do that, we have a lot of prep that we have to do to get ready for that to happen. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to get down and dirty with my meal plan. Now I have done a video to show exactly how I actually make a meal plan for our family of 7 for an entire month without kind of going nuts on it. And I will link that down below if you guys are interested. For sure, check that one out. Otherwise, this is just kind of how I go about doing it. So the first thing that I will do when I'm thinking about our meal plan is I want to shop whatever we have at our home very first. So we are still finishing up a bunch of freezer meals that we made before baby was born. And so we need to kind of get those out of our freezer. So the next couple of weeks, we will be really working on finishing those up. Some of them I'm even like pulling out and having for lunches instead of saving them for dinners, just because we do want to kind of get through those as quickly as we can. Anytime that we're putting something in our freezer, we want to make sure that it's coming back out and that it's not just being made and then being left there to die, because that is a waste of our time and our money and our effort, and that's, you know, not great. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to figure out what all freezer meals we have left. I'm going to make a list of that, and then those will be the first things I add to our meal plan. Once I get all of those written out, then I'm going to look at the protein that I have. So I will go through the freezer because that's where we keep our meat unless we are currently thawing it out. And so I will pull a bunch of that out. I'll count what I have, what I need to get, and then I will work that into our meal plan and make sure that that meat is put in a specific spot in the freezer so that that's going to be the meat that is used first. So since we are pulling out all of our freezer meals, all of that is going to go into one freezer along with all of the meat that is going to be used in the next month, just so that I am, one, not opening the chest freezer that we keep most of our meat in, especially our stockpile of meat, as often as I can avoid it. And then two, it just makes it easier for me to just know exactly where it's at. That way, if I'm picking it up, I know which freezer to go to, or if I send a kid or a husband or somebody else to go grab something, they know which freezer they need to be looking for that in. So that's super handy. Once I have the proteins figured out, then I'm going to go through and figure out what dry and canned and frozen ingredients we have. So if we have like frozen peas or corn, so I will figure out what all dry goods and frozen things and canned things we already have, and we'll try to use all of that as much as we can first. And then I will look at what I actually need to get from the store. So once I have an idea of the few things that I actually need, those are the first things that I'll add to my grocery list. And then once I get those things added, I look at my budget. I like to go on the apps whenever I can, Sam's Club, Target, Walmart, and then I will go ahead and add those things to my cart. It will give me a very good idea of how much I'm spending out of my budget for the few things that we will need for this month already, and then that's going to tell me how much money I have left in my budget for the rest of the things that I want to grab. And so from that, I will think about what are some things that we are running low on. I'll look through the pantry, I'll look through the freezer. If there are things that I can see that we're running really low on, then I will grab those things, and I'll make sure that those things are on our list so that I don't overlook them. So for example, I know one thing that we definitely are going to need is pasta sauce. So I'm going to make sure and stock up on that. And because I already know how much is coming out of my budget for our meal plan that we already have planned for this month, I know exactly how much I can afford to buy in all of those extra stock up items and ingredients, so that there's no question if I am going over the budget or not. And that is extremely important whenever I am working on stocking up my kitchen, because I don't want to buy things I don't need, and I definitely don't want to spend money that I don't have or that I don't need to be spending. It's a basic overview of how I set up our meal plan, and so I'm going to get working on that. And then once we do that, it is going to be time to clean everything out. So I thought I would bring you guys along and show you kind of what it looks like for us to do a big pantry, refrigerator, and freezer clean out for a big stock up shopping trip. So the first thing that I like to do whenever I start like a clean out is just pull everything out that isn't good anymore. And honestly, this is a little bit embarrassing, but so much of this stuff is leftovers that we just have not been eating. Just haven't been eating leftovers a ton lately. So I am pulling everything out. We have bottle for a goat, lots of strawberries for some reason. My kids, it's feast or famine with the berries sometimes. And apparently right now we just bought a lot of produce that is going to end up just going to our chickens. That's okay, I guess. We have pizza left over from when we went out to dinner the other night. You can see we have some blackberries. Actually, those still look pretty good. A lot of things I will still just pull out. My actual refrigerator is looking kind of yucky right now, so I'm going to pull out a bunch of this stuff just to give it a good wipe down. So this is one time that I do kind of like to be a little bit brutal and pull out anything that I really just don't think that we are going to eat. It can be kind of hard to do that sometimes. Ooh, June 3rd, that one's still good. It can be kind of hard to do that sometimes just because this is money that we have spent, but the truth is this is food that is probably just not going to get eaten. And so since it's not going to get eaten, it doesn't make a ton of sense to just keep it in here just because that's money that we spent. That money is gone, unfortunately. It will go to feed the chickens right now, and we just have to be okay with that because there really is no other option for us. So I'm going to finish cleaning out this refrigerator. We have some drawer refrigerators that I will also clean out, pull as much out as we can, and then from there I will move over to the freezers, which, if I'm honest, are my least favorite to do. So our pantries are kind of looking like this right now. This pantry is our working pantry, so it's downstairs and it's kind of what we have. Most of our like breads come in here. Any kind of a like snack product comes in here. We keep some like oils, anything that we just use on a regular basis, honestly, and our kitchen comes in here. And then this is half of it and the other half is behind the door. So this one isn't too bad to try to clean up. It's mostly just getting anything that is open out and making sure that it's this area right here kind of is a catch-all area. It has like coffee, there's some beef tallow there, there's some homemade brioche there that my daughter made yesterday, so that kind of stuff. I like having this here just because it is a really nice area that I can close the door to, and I don't mind if things kind of pile up a little bit, but we do have to stay on top of it or it can start to really look like this, which is not great. So we're gonna clean this one out. This one doesn't tend to tell me much about what we need because I keep the same things pretty much in here all the time. There are a few other things that come in and out, like we don't normally keep things like chips, and we have a bunch right there. So this one we will just clean out, and then I will look through all of my canisters that are up here, and they will tell me what I need to refill. And then that'll be helpful whenever I head upstairs to our upstairs pantry, because I will pull out any of the things that we need. Like I can see right now that we need to bring some baking powder down here. So I'll bring that down, see how we are doing on baking powder upstairs in our upstairs pantry. And then if we need to refill it there, then I'll know that we need to actually add it to our shopping list. We are in our upstairs storage room now. We like to call this the storeroom because this is kind of where we keep everything set up like our own little store. You can see we have a good amount of things up here, but we do have some holes that we need to fill. So we still have some pizza sauce, but we're running very low on our pasta sauce. I can see that we have a good amount of canned goods. We have tomato canned goods. We have some canned fruit, some peaches, and I think we have pumpkin in there. We have a bunch of canned vegetables that we got on a really good deal a long time ago, and they're still good. So we're still working through those. We have like extra things like evaporated milk and things like that in here. And then on the bottom here, I'll show you, we have a lot of these I think these are either 2 or 3 gallon buckets, and then I have some 5-gallon buckets, and these are full of, oh, I'm sorry, baby. These are full of a bunch of dry goods. So we have beans and things like baking soda, powdered sugar, baking powder, popcorn. I have extra things like flour and sugar in some of these as well. We do have some things that are not food in here that need to get cleaned out, but we have a bunch of our jars for canning that have been emptied throughout the fall and winter and springtime so far. So I'm ready to get those kind of back going. And then any like little like boxed type things that we get that are not things that I make from scratch, they also stay up here because we just don't use them very often, but when we do, it's nice to have them. So I will go through and clean this out, kind of get anything out that doesn't belong in here, kind of rearrange some things, and then that's going to tell me exactly how much of everything that we need. So I'm just going to give you guys kind of an overview to step around everything here of things like our flour. So this is how much flour we have. Oh, babies. This is how much flour we have left. This is not enough flour to get us through a month. So I know I'm going to have to restock on our flour, and then I will probably get way more extra to that stock up as well, just so that I know that we have plenty for what we will need. I probably won't get any more boxed anything unless I get another box of mac and cheese, because we don't usually eat that very much, and we have a few things on our shelves right now, and so I'll go with that. Another thing that I like to keep up here are spare spices. So we have a whole shelf area that is devoted just to extra spices, and I will look through that and see if there are any spices that we normally use that we don't have. So I'll do a big clean out up here right now and reorganize some things just so that I can know exactly what holes need to be filled up here. Okay, so I did not actually get any film of us cleaning this out, but this is our chest freezer that is like in our kitchen area, and this is just going to house our freezer meals for right now that need to get finished. And then we have some treats in here, like some frozen waffles and some ice cream. And then I like to keep, this is our like ice cream insert thing to make homemade ice cream. We have a few popsicles, and this is where we will keep like any extra kind of treat things that we get. If we get anything else, I don't know if we will this month, for like freezer stuff, because it is freezer frozen treat time of the year now. So that'll be really fun. And then this is going to make it a lot easier for us to know exactly where to come to for that. And then this freezer, we will have just extra stuff that I didn't have room for anything else. And so we still have like some tortellini and some ravioli. Those are a lot of lunch things that we do. Some frozen fruits and vegetables that we use for cooking a lot, or having smoothies or anything like that. So that's what this is full of. Some more freezer meal stuff right here. And then lots and lots and lots of frozen fruits and vegetables that we preserved from last summer and purchased a lot from Azure Standard as well. So those two freezers are done. While I was working on the other freezers, my son was in here working on this one. So this is a big chest freezer that we keep mostly full of meat. So we have all of our meat in here, roasts and ground beef and chicken, some shrimp in there. And I like to keep it in here separate because I like to be able to just keep this freezer closed as often as possible, because I don't want to open it any more than absolutely necessary, just so that we can keep the cold in there. So I will actually go through this, since I am not the one that cleaned it out. I'll go through this and see everything that we have, all of the different meats and things that we have, how many of each thing that we have in here as well, just so that I can know what all I need to stock up on as far as meat goes. I never do a very good job of keeping up with this, if I'm very honest with you guys. So I always have to kind of do a lookout before I do a grocery shop, so that I know what I need to get. That way we don't have like a ton of one thing and very, very little of something else, just because we do like a little bit of variety, at least in our protein. So that's it. It's a lot of work, if I'm honest, but it's not too bad when I have some really great helpers with my kids. They always jump in and are a huge help with it for sure. And it's great. It's a great feasting day for our chickens and our ducks also, which that's always really handy. So that is how I kind of prep for our grocery shopping trip. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go have a nice little rest, and then I will be ready tomorrow, and it's going to be a really great month for our family to munch on some really yummy food. So thanks guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time with a grocery haul to show you what I'm refilling all of this empty space with.